Back here, first things first, we are going viral. Dirk Nowitzki became just the third player in NBA history to play in 1,500 career games. And Clippers head coach Doc Rivers used a timeout to let the LA fans pay tribute to the Mavericks' 21-year vet.
Doc is on the mic, giving it up for Dirk. Wow. I've never seen this before.
The greatest of all time, Dirk Nowitzki.
Wow. This is
one of the coolest things I've seen in an NBA game. I will admit, I was
amazing by Doc to be able to capture the moment.
Yep.
And to recognize, like, let's just stop right now. Let's not wait till we get in locker room, do an interview. Like, let's recognize this guy and have the fans involved on the road. You're talking about classy, man. What they're doing in the NBA for Dwayne Wade and Dirk, man, is really, really special.
This was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. What I was going to say is this was the latest game in the NBA last night. I fell asleep right around halftime, so I didn't see this until the clip this morning. Such a cool thing for, if we're being honest here, one of the most important, forget greatest, and he's the 6th all-time leading scorer, 7th all-time leading scorer, I believe. Forget his accolades. One of the most important players in the history of professional basketball, Dirk Nowitzki, showing that a European player can be the best guy on a championship team, can win league MVP, things that had never been done.
And can be liked by virtually everyone.
Man, I love Dirk. That was a really nice thing for Doc Rivers to do. That no one expected, no one saw coming. That was really cool.
All right, time now for some stories to start your morning. We'll start with one of the big names coming out of the NFL draft, Kyler Murray. A lot of concerns about the quarterback's stature may soon be alleviated. According to reports, he is up to 206 pounds. See, how important is Kyler's weight going to be here?
Well, the reason why it's important, not only his height, is because typically there's certain measurables they want for every position. Certain height, certain weight, certain hands, certain arm length, things like that. But for a quarterback, we just haven't seen quarterbacks come into the league that are under 215 pounds. 215 pounds is kind of the benchmark as a low mark of what they want to weight on a quarterback, because it's not only the wear and tear of the hits, it's all the practicing and those 6 months that what you're going to put your body through. They prefer someone 215 to 235 pounds.
And I don't think he can get to 215. I don't think he's got the body to carry it. He played college football at around 190, 194. So the fact that he has done what he can to bulk up to 206, I think is noteworthy, because he's not going to get taller and his hands aren't going to get bigger. You might teach him how to cheat the hand test.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, we got a little thing we can do.
But
the weight is a real thing.
The weight is the one thing he can actually improve upon.
All right, to the NBA now. James Harden scored 28 points in a win over the Hawks last night, but that does snap his 32-game streak of scoring at least 30 points a game. Going 0 for 10 from deep didn't help his cause in this one. But, Nick, how impressive was Harden's streak?
Listen, this is one of the greatest scoring streaks of all time. If we're talking about there's LeBron's 900-plus double-digit streak, which broke a seemingly unbreakable record. There's this streak, which didn't break the record because Wilt has it at 65. But I bet this will stand for 10 years, 15 years. Like, to put some context on it, there are not currently a dozen guys in the NBA that have scored 10 points in 32 straight games. Right. He's scored 30 in 32
And another impressive thing, Nick, with what Harden did was they were playing winning basketball. Like, you might be able to do this in summer. I don't think it will be duplicated. When you talk about a conversation, well, who else has done this? You and Wilt, like, you have that span of time over it. Harden, what he did was special. One of the most special parts was his overall durability.
Yep.
Because that part right there, we didn't know that he was capable of that.
And the Rockets had a top 5 record in the NBA during the streak. They were winning because of him, with Capella out for a lot of it, with Chris Paul out for a lot of it.
All right, fine, let's talk some Sixers. They took down the Pelicans last night without their star center, Joel Embiid. He missed his 3rd straight game with a sore knee. Not to worry, the Sixers were helped handily by Tobias Harris and his 29 points. Bit of a blow for Philly, though. Boban had to leave the game with a knee injury. He will have an MRI later today. CeCe, What do you think now has to happen for this Sixers team if they are going to go on a playoff run?
Well, I think a couple things. I think Tobias Harris, his additional offense added to them. I think they need to continue to allow him to be the scoring threat that he is. Having the best season coming over from the Clippers, people are thinking, well, wow, what's he going to do playing with more talented players there in Philadelphia? Joel Embiid being the focal point of the offense. And you could see last night, Joel Embiid out. He was the #1 offensive player. I think he's underrated as an offensive player. And then I think another thing that, Nick, you and I talked about with Mannix, our friend, as far as Jimmy Butler and what role he's going to play coming down the stretch, because we believe that Jimmy Butler has a mindset and a skill set that no one else on that team, and it's more suited for playoff basketball. You know, Jimmy Butler, he's trying to get a contract extension, or is he going to leave Philadelphia and go to another team? So this run of 20 games and this playoff stretch for Jimmy Butler and this franchise becomes very, very important.
He's got to be the closer. Listen, we know that this team without Joel Embiid cannot compete at a high level. But even with Joel Embiid, the reason last year they were not able to get through a Boston Celtics team that didn't have Kyrie, that they lost in 5 with 3 games coming down to the final minute. They were 0 for 3 in the series in those games.
And Nick,
but they didn't have an end-of-game guy.
And you do have a concern about dominant NBA centers once they get into the playoff because of the style and the referee.
Yeah, listen, Joel Embiid, the only player in the league that takes more free throws than him is James Harden. A huge part of his game is getting to the line and being a very good free throw shooter for a big man. And they're going to let you play harder in the playoffs. He's not going to get to the line as much. You are not going to be able to, late in games, typically just go through him. And so last year, they were in a spot where at the end of games, it was Marco Bellinelli, Ersan Ilyasova, J.J. Redick, because Ben Simmons, we know at the end of games, if it's not in transition, can't do anything for you, and it's tough to run plays for a big man. So that's where Jimmy Butler comes in.
Yeah, and all those players last year hurt Philadelphia because they're all jump shooters. You need a guy who's a slasher, a guy who can score not only with his jump shot, but can get to the hole, can get fouled and be able to finish that off, being a good free throw shooter. So Jimmy Butler, man, he fills a spot on that roster that they desperately need, especially in the playoff basketball.
If we just go through the teams that are championship contenders, right? Just have a shot to be in the finals or to compete with the Warriors in the West. Milwaukee's got Giannis. Toronto's got Kawhi. Boston's got Kyrie. Out west, you want to know one of the reasons why why Denver, no matter even if they get the 1 seed, I got real questions about them. I don't think they have that guy. Their best player is Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray is a nice young player, but I don't think they've got that guy. OKC's got him in Paul George. Portland has him in Damian Lillard. The Rockets have him in James Harden. For the Sixers, it has to be Jimmy Butler. That is why that trade was so important. And I like Tobias, and Tobias can do it to a degree, but Jimmy Butler's the guy I believe in that can do that.
Joel Embiid and Tobias get him to that close and allow Jimmy Butler to finish him off.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll take a break. Coming up, could the Celtics trade their entire young core for